Okay, so we've reached the 3,000 mile mark on Betty since the engine rebuild. And the first oil analysis went off at about roughly, I'd say 1,000 miles, just to see what was going on. And the results from that came back were pretty good. A couple things to consider, and it was advised to send off another sample the next oil change, which I did, which puts us at 3,000 miles since zero and about 2,500 miles on this oil right here, which is Valvoline VR1 10W30. And I sent that sample off a couple days ago. The lab has it. I'm just waiting on results. It'll take about 3 days to get. But I just wanted to show what I've got going on. So initially I had a lot of concern about the sheening in the oil, and I think that's probably normal for this type of oil. You can see a little bit of that light gray stuff in there that comes up. I'm thinking that's normal now, but I don't know yet. We'll wait and see on the final result, on the next set of results from the lab, and see if there's any indication of wear metals in the oil. If there's no indication of wear metals in the oil, then I'm not worried about whatever that is. What is interesting though is this right here. Here's the cap, and if I get in closer, see a lot of this garbage here. This has got some texture to it. Not quite sure what that is. Probably just sludge. Because this is of course unfiltered oil. That is probably normal for a Volkswagen to have. I'm not a VW expert. I'm just a guy who's maintaining a VW for as long as possible. So that's probably just sludge. The fact that it's down here on the bottom is pretty good, I suppose. It's not all gunking around in the motor. But you know, when VW's robust filtering system, just this metal screen, you have to wonder what is actually going through the engine. Nevertheless, while driving it for these 3,000 miles, I have not noticed any problems with acceleration, hesitation, anything. Oil pressures have been maintained really well. Oil temp has been really good. Well, of course, it's summer now. It's like mid July, and it's hot as hell outside. And despite the fact that these cars were built to run in the North African desert, Hitler and I have competing perspectives on what engine temperature should be, and therefore, and longevity. And since there aren't a million of these engines around that I can just swap out at any time, I'm not running this car too much in summer. These gaskets are the SIP1, I think is where I got these. These are the gaskets that come from SIP1. They're supposed to be infinite use type gaskets. Like, you don't have to use the paper element gaskets anymore. And quite honestly, I'm happy with them. I've used silicon gaskets like this when I was an age mechanic and other equipment, and we usually didn't replace them too often either, unless they were ripped or something really was bad about them. But so far, I'm happy with these because they've been off a couple times and back on a couple times, and although they're filthy, that's just from the oil change. I'll clean them up and put them right back in and torque everything back down to spec. So the plan is to continue on a 1,500 mile oil change interval. And that's going to piss off the purists, I'm sure. You don't need to do that. Volkswagen knew what they were doing. These cars can run for 3,000 miles before oil changes. Yep, noted, got it. But I'm not doing that. So it's my car, and if any VW engineer wants to come down here and start doing the work for me at 3,000 miles and start replacing parts, fine. At their expense, go right ahead. Don't care. Purists tend to be assholes from time to time. And in this case, my car, my rules. So 1,500 miles, and then the oil comes out. So this 3 quarts of VR1 is going in. It'll be back out in 1,500. And then at every 3,000 mile mark is when the valves will get adjusted. These valves were adjusted a couple days ago, and I'm doing the oil change now. Everything was running great. I only had a couple of valves that needed to be torqued down just a little bit. They were off by they're probably like 0.009 instead of 6. And I usually go no-go where 0.8 is, or 8 thousandths is my no-go. So I think everything's going great. Based on my experience on maintaining engines and being a mechanic, I think things are fine with this car right now. I'm not going to make any drastic changes, but the one thing I will be doing is cutting in half the oil change interval. 3,000 miles on unfiltered oil is unreasonable to me, so we're going to be doing it at 1,500 until I die. If anybody wants to argue that with me, I'd love to hear it, but I'm not going to care either way. So that's it. Betty Rummel's in fine order. I know it's been a long time since I shot a video. I'm having surgery tomorrow. I need to get all this work done before I go under the knife, because I won't be driving the car for a while. So anyway, there it is. Any questions, hit me up in the comments. Thanks.